Xbox is actually hitting some pretty good bits of news here lately, and I think it comes at a very good time. We're hitting up the holidays soon, and everybody's going to be kind of putting in their Christmas orders. Hey, what are we going to get? What are we going to get? Maybe there's going to be some Xboxes. Santa's going to pick up some Xboxes and deliver them. Hopefully anyway, we get to see some pickup with Microsoft and some of the Xbox Series X's and S's. I mean, there's some decent deals that are going to be found, which I talked a little bit about in some previous videos, which, hey, that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. What it really comes down to, though, is like the games. I think it's so funny to me that, honestly, it took as long as it did to be able to get, the Xbox Series X running to where it needed to really run at. And, we're starting to see that a little bit more and more now, which, hey, I'm thrilled to death about, trust me, when I say that. I'm excited that Xbox has kind of come such a long way, and at the end of the day, it's good for competition. If the Pro is going to help Xbox be better, hey, I'm down with that. So this was an interesting bit of video. What's up, everybody? Crap Gamer here with Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I certainly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. If you guys would like the video, I would appreciate that. It helps out the channel tremendously. And, again, it's just much appreciated. I do daily video game content, so share it out. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell everybody. And, while you're at it, tell your aunt and uncle too. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on this. This was pretty good, right? So we know that Death Stranding had a surprise Xbox port, but apparently it's impressive on the Series X and the S. So yeah, hey, that's pretty interesting to see that happen. Again, what's funny about this is this game is running on a proprietary PlayStation engine. It's running on Guerrilla Games' own engine, and it's the one that their games Horizon Forbidden West and stuff run on. So that's super interesting that's happening, because the game looks fairly gorgeous, to say the least. And they were doing Digital Foundry was doing a very interesting kind of take on this. So shortly after the surprise release of Death Stranding Director's Cut on Xbox, there was a lot of impressions and things like that. Now Digital Foundry has taken a closer look at Kojima Productions' title. The good news is that the tech outlet is very impressed with how the game plays on Microsoft's machines, particularly the all-digital Xbox Series S, which more than pulls its weight. In fact, Digital Foundry says that the game is quite remarkable on the lower power Xbox console, especially when it comes to frame rates. So this is what they have to say. Xbox Series S is absolutely fascinating. It's an accomplished port that scales very, very well indeed to the junior console. The quality mode doesn't resolve as much detail from the resolution metrics, and we can see why. It's using a dynamic resolution, scaling largely between 900p and 1080p. What's quite remarkable here is that the drop to pixel count for the 4 teraflop machine results in output frame rate that's faster than the quality mode equivalent on Xbox Series X and S, and maybe that's a good thing, as the chances are that Series S owners are likely to have VRR displays, so the closer it gets to a locked 60 frames per second, the better. So of course the Xbox Series X is running at a much higher resolution overall, which you could definitely spot, but even from some of the other comparisons, the Series S version looks surprisingly similar to the more powerful Series X. The more detailed Digital Foundry analysis certainly backs that up, as Kojima Productions has done a fantastic job on the port. The technical job matches the game in general, as Death Stranding has been labeled as a must-play title that scores, according to Xbox, Pure Xbox, a 10 out of 10. So again, the game's getting a lot of good reviews and things like that. For the Xbox version, it's not just a rushed port or anything like that. Thankfully, it definitely looks like a game that's worth your time if you're interested in it. Now, I know a lot of Xbox fans maybe cast this off as just a walking simulator or this or that. I think that's kind of foolish to do that, because at the end of the day, it's a pretty decent game. It's a very unique game as well. So, I think people have to kind of keep that in mind, that, it's one of the more unique game. So the launch has exactly happened 5 years on the launch from the original PS4/PS4 Pro version. The more likely explanation for the Xbox release, the chances are that whatever console exclusivity deal Kojima had were kind of dead and gone, and now Sony has sold the IP back to Kojima. So this came out of nowhere. Digital Foundry had plenty on his plate, but they wanted to get some impressions out and do some of the actual kind of back and forth checks on it. The port is based on the director's cut, and it's good to see that all the content and features from the PS5 release are available on Xbox consoles. There are quality and performance modes, both targeting 60 frames per second, and the option to run in standard 16:9 or 21.9 ultra wide with black borders top and bottoms remains in place. Adding to the good news that the Series S is also feature complete. One might imagine that the game's big PlayStation 4 origins make the port less onerous for the Series S. Looking at the PS5 director's cut up against the new Series X version, they used the intro sequence running in quality modes as a benchmark of sorts. The cutscene begins at 4K 60, but transitions midpoint into engine-driven rendering that can't quite sustain this target frame rate. Both PlayStation and Xbox versions lose frames at similar points on the sequence, while PS5 is a little bit faster. There are moments where Series X can take 0.2. What we're seeing here is mounts to summary of cross-platform development across the generation. Either machine can outperform the other, but generally are very similar. In quality mode, PS5 might have some kind of dynamic resolution effect across both axes, while Xbox scales horizontally, for sure in range between 2160 and 2160 as well, but with the 3840 buffer. Based on the samples, perhaps the explains the small performance differential in performance mode. Both consoles almost hit the target 60 frames and are both using dynamic resolution. Series S is fascinating. It's an accomplished port that scales very, very well for the console. They're very impressed with it as well. The performance mode is intriguing, running at a target 60 frames with DRS window that seems to sit within 810p to 900p. However, run the intro sequence in quality mode versus performance mode, and it's fascinating just to see how close the metrics can get. There's very little in it, which makes me wonder if the performance mode could simply increase the DRS window to quality upwards of 1080p. How Kojima Productions has achieved a port of this quality isn't fully clear, but it's as good as I would have hoped for on Xbox consoles. Perhaps it's a case that the game existing in highly performant PC versions running on DirectX 12 graphics API may have given the developers a strong foundation to which to deliver an Xbox version of the game, and right now, with the game available, what you're looking at is a title that's still very different and original, still looks fantastic, runs beautifully, and won't cost you the earth. They spent a limited amount of time with the game, but it looks like it is a solid game, running incredibly, well on the Xbox Series S and X. And listen, I think that it's great that these games are running good on the Series S because, there were so many pundits out there that said, hey, the Xbox Series S sucks, and, they're not going to be able to continue to, the people, they're going to have to not put games on it anymore, etc., etc. And, now we kind of live at a point where we're 4 years in and games are running better than ever on the Series S. So, yeah, I like to see that. And to be honest with you, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that like to see that. Listen, I get it. It's like a $300 console. You could get it for less than that, of course. But, we sort of live in this world with, people still spent, $300 on this thing. And, at the same time, when I'm looking at things and I'm going, okay, well, I might not have spent $500 on it, but I'm sure there's people, they spent $300. They don't want to feel like that's a waste. They don't want to feel like they wasted their money, and it wouldn't be fair to them to not get versions that can run on the platform. So nice to see these games are doing well. Nice to see that Xbox is getting some of these games that nobody thought that they would get. Listen, I understand that they sold the game IP to Sony, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit weird or whatever, but hey, more games for Xbox, and that's just going to be a great thing. I think that it's going to be a fantastic game for people. If you haven't tried it yet, go ahead and try it. It's well worth the play. Like I said, it's completely unique and with what it offers, and it runs great on Xbox platforms. So yeah, it's a win all the way across the board. One of the most unique titles that you can find. If you guys are planning to pick it up, now's the time. Like I said, it's on sale. It's like $20 or something. well worth it in my opinion. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Remember to rack them up, fact them up, and Crap Gamer them up. I'll catch you next time. Crap Gamer out.